In April 2026, Goldman Sachs published a research paper. It was thorough, it was sourced, it was detailed, and it contained a number that should have been on the front page of every newspaper in the world. Artificial intelligence is currently eliminating 16,000 American jobs every single month. Not a projection, not a forecast, right now, this month. And the workers losing their jobs are not simply moving to better opportunities. According to 10 years of tracking data, they earn 10% less for the rest of their careers. This is coin in context, and today we follow the money, from the AI revolution all the way to your payslip. Goldman Sachs has spent 40 years studying what happens to workers after technological disruption. The findings is called scaring effect, and is more devastating than almost anyone acknowledges. When a worker is displaced by technology, their job automated, their role made redundant, the damage is not temporary, it's permanent. Workers displaced by technology disrupted occupations take approximately 1 month longer to find new employment than other displaced workers. When they do find work, they accept real earning cuts of more than 3% compared to peers who were never displaced. Over the following decade, their real earning growth is nearly 10% lower than those who were never displaced. They delay buying homes, they are less likely to be married at any given age, they accumulate less wealth. A single layoff one morning, one email, one meeting room conversation echoes through 10 years of a person's financial life. And AI is generating 60,000 of those mornings every single month in America alone. When you picture the worker most vulnerable to AI displacement, you might picture an older worker, someone in a routine manufacturing job, someone whose skills predate the digital era. Goldman Sachs 2026 research tells a different story. Gen Z, the people aged 22 to 27, are bearing the brunt. The unemployment rate for recent college graduates sits at about 5.6%. The national average is 4.2%. Young people with brand new degrees are entering a job market that is actively contracting for exactly the kind of entry level, cognitive, structured tasks they were trained to do. Data entry, basic research, first draft writing, customer service, junior analysis. These are not low-skill jobs. They are the jobs that previous generations used to build their careers. The entry point that led to mid-level roles, then to senior positions, then to the financial security. AI is eliminating the bottom rungs of the ladder. And if you cannot get on the ladder in the first place, the ladder is irrelevant. This is not an abstract threat. This is already happening. This is already in the unemployment statistics. This is already in the bank accounts of millions of young people who did everything they were told. Went to university, got the degree, and graduated into a market that had already moved on. Let's zoom out from the monthly figure, 16,000 jobs per month, to the longer horizon. Goldman Sachs foundational AI employment research estimated that 300 million jobs globally are fully exposed to automation, not at risk of partial change, fully exposed. That is 300 million people whose roles could technically be performed by AI with the technology available today or in development. The National Bureau of Economic Research attributes 50 to 70% of all wage changes in America since 1980 to automation. Since 1980. This is not a new story. What is new is the pace and the breadth. Previous ways of automation replaced physical, repetitive tasks, factory lines, logistics, data processing. This wave is different. It is replacing cognitive, creative, communicative work. Writing, analysis, customer interaction, legal research, medical diagnosis, financial advice. These were the sectors that absorbed the workers displaced by earlier waves of automation. These were supposed to be the safe jobs, the knowledge economy, the professional class. The walls that felt permanent are not permanent. Now let's follow the money to the other side of the story. Because while 16,000 jobs a month are disappearing, somebody's getting extraordinarily rich. AI-related imports now accounts for 23% of all US imports, up from 15% just 2 years ago. That is 200 billion increase in trade deficit driven entirely by AI built out. The companies building the infrastructure, the chip manufacturers, the data center operators, the cloud platforms are capturing historic levels of value. Data center constructions alone has added 216,000 jobs since 2022. But here is the critical distinction that Coin and Context always draws. Those 216,000 construction jobs are real, they are good jobs, they matter. But they are not a replacement for 300 million jobs at risk of automation. They are not a pipeline that absorbs the junior analyst, the customer service representative, the paralegal, and the data entry clerk. The money being made by AI is being made by the people who own the AI, the shareholders, the founders, the venture capitalists who got in there early. The National Bureau of Economic Research is clear. AI adoption deepens inequality. Unless governments and employers invest heavily in reskilling, there is currently no structural program remotely large enough to do that. The money is flowing up. The job losses are hit in the middle. There is more layer to the Goldman Sachs research that deserves its own moment. The scaring effect from AI displacement, the 10% lifetime earnings reduction, the longer job searches, the delayed home ownership is based on displacement in a stable economy. If AI displacement occurs during a recession, the damage is substantially worse. Workers' displacement during a downturn face roughly 3 additional weeks of unemployment. They face a 5% point higher risk of returning to unemployment after finding work. They face a 5% point higher risk exiting the labor force entirely. And here is the brutal timing. 2026 is not a stable economy. Tariff disruption, elevated inflation, global trade uncertainty. The IMF has flagged the global economy as tested again. The AI wave is crested precisely at the moment of maximum economic fragility for the workers it is most likely to displace. The Goldman Sachs research puts that confluence of risk in the stark possible terms. They looked at 40 years of data. The conclusion is not softened. Workers displaced by technology during an economic downturn face the most severe and lasting financial consequence of any category of worker they studied. The 16,000 per month in an uncertain economy with a recession risk nobody is willing to fully name. So here is the Coin and Context financial lesson. And it's not a lesson in fear, it's a lesson in positioning. The AI transition is not optional, it's happening. The 16,000 a month job figure is a floor, not a ceiling. The question is not whether the wave is coming. The question is, are you standing on the shore or you move to the higher ground? First, invest in your own skills with the same ruthlessness that the corporations invest in AI. The skills least vulnerable to AI displacement are the ones AI cannot easily replicate. Original human judgment, emotional intelligence, physical craft, creative synthesis, leadership, and the ability to work with other humans in complex, uncertain situations. Know which side of that line your career sits on. Second, understand the difference between income and equity. Workers lose when automation arrives. Owners of automation gain. The most direct way for an ordinary person to participate in AI wealth creation, rather than just absorb its job losses, is to own a slice of it. Index funds with significant AI and technology exposure are not speculation. They are the mechanism by which you move from the losing side to the winning side of this transition. Third, watch what companies are doing with their AI productivity gains. Are they reinvesting in their workforce? Are they finding retraining? Or are they simply returning the gains to shareholders whilst restructuring headcount? The answer tells you everything about whether the AI era will produce shared prosperity or concentrated wealth. Fourth, talk to your children about it. The 5.6% graduation unemployment rate is not a blip. The bottom rungs of the career ladder are being automated first. The young person who understands this in 2026 can still adapt. The one who doesn't will graduate into a wall. The Industrial Revolution created more wealth than the agricultural era it replaced. The AI revolution may do the same. But every revolution has casualties, and the casualties are always the people nobody warned. We are warning you now. This is Coin and Context. Subscribe, share this with someone whose job is on the line.